Imagine a serene Norwegian fjord, a symbol of nature's tranquil beauty, suddenly transformed into a nightmare by an 85-meter-high tsunami. The Wave, 2015, a heart-stopping thriller, takes you on a breathtaking journey where a peaceful paradise turns into a battleground for survival. This film is not just a movie, it's a roller coaster of emotions, where every second is critical. A geologist finds himself at the epicenter of this unforeseen disaster. Will he be able to overcome nature's fury? Witness the power of nature as never before. Are you ready for the wave of a lifetime? Let's start this movie recap into an unforgettable whirlpool of tension. The film begins with real-life footage of a devastating disaster in Norway, 1905. A rock slide near Lodalen in Nordfjord triggered a tsunami, claiming 63 lives. A similar incident later highlights the imminent danger from unstable mountainsides. In the picturesque Norwegian town of Geiranger, the Akernes mountainside poses a severe threat. It's predicted to unleash 7 million cubic meters of rock, triggering a catastrophic tsunami. Meet Kristian, a geologist, played by Kristoffer Joner. Kristian returns home to Geiranger, greeted by his family. His wife, Idun, struggles with a leaky pipe, setting a playful tone for the family dynamics. Over dinner, Kristian enthusiastically discusses their upcoming move to a new apartment, emphasizing modern amenities. Playful banter ensues about Idun's belief in the soul of their current home. As they prepare to move, Kristian contemplates discarding old shirts. Idun playfully suggests he needs a new suit and a haircut, creating a light-hearted moment. A light-hearted family moment unfolds in the kitchen as Kristian and Idun share playful banter, only to be interrupted by their teenage son, Sondre. The next day, Kristian heads to work at the Early Warning Center, where he monitors parameters. Little does he know, this will be one of his last days before an impending disaster changes everything. Kristian shares cake with co-workers, congratulating him on his new oil industry job. They playfully tease his meticulous nature in triple-checking data. As Kristian cleans his office, an alarm from the control room grabs his attention. He discovers a drastic spike in groundwater levels, raising concerns. Despite mapping worst-case scenarios, he's reassured to return to packing. At home, Kristian discusses unusual groundwater changes with his wife Idun. She dismisses his worries, emphasizing their move's finality. Kristian's concern lingers as they continue packing. Outside, Kristian comforts his son Sondre, who is upset about leaving their beautiful and safe home. Sondre questions the stability of their future, leaving Kristian to contemplate the impact of his career change on his children. As they finish packing, neighbors greet the family, discussing the impending move. Kristian, troubled by a sense of foreboding, can't shake the feeling that something is wrong. On the way to the ferry, Kristian observes the mountain and notices strange water dripping. A Jenga game on Sondre's phone becomes symbolic as pieces topple. Feeling an urgency, Kristian abruptly returns to his office. Idun, on her bike to work, is chided for being late by her friend Vibeke. They check in guests at Hotel Geiranger while discussing Idun's family already on the ferry. In a tense moment, Kristian interrupts his colleagues, revealing something urgent. The stage is set for a dramatic turning point as the impending disaster takes center stage. The town's fate teeters on the edge as severed sensors and shifting rock layers ominously signal an impending rock slide and tsunami, compelling them to leap into action against the looming natural catastrophe. Soaring above the rugged landscape in a chopper, Kristian and his colleague, donning climbing gear, embark on a hazardous mission to the Eagle's Nest control station nestled high in the mountains, their helmet cameras capturing every heart-stopping step and precarious shift of the terrain, bringing the viewer into the thick of their perilous journey to inspect the critical sensors. Meanwhile, at the hotel, Idun, Kristian's wife, receives a concerning call from Sondre, their son. She learns they are still in town, heightening the sense of impending doom. Back at the mountain, Kristian and his teammate are rappelling down the crevice. they discover severed wires at the sensors, a sign that something catastrophic is brewing. The scene cuts to the control room, where Kristian's revelation about the cut wires creates a stir among his colleagues. Kristian urgently illustrates the disaster that awaits if the mountainside collapses, a colossal wave that could obliterate the town in minutes. But his warnings clash with the concerns about tourism and panic, leading to a tense exchange with his colleague Arvid. The team agrees to a yellow alert, increasing surveillance but not alerting the town. This decision weighs heavily on Kristian, who finds himself torn between professional duty and the urge to protect his family. The storyline turns emotionally significant to a personal level as Kristian returns to the hotel only to find his kids missing. He discovers they've left a note about their impatience and frustration, a stark reminder of the balance between his career and family responsibilities. Kristian's reunion with his family at the hotel is fraught with tension. Idun's frustration is palpable as she scolds him for neglecting their children. The family's internal conflict mirrors the looming external threat. The scene transitions to a quieter, more introspective moment. Idun and Kristian discuss their next steps. Julia, yearning for a final night in their home, chooses to leave with Kristian, while Idun and Sondre stay at the hotel, setting the stage for the family's separation as the disaster unfolds. Kristian and his daughter Julia are in the car, discussing the potential of a divorce between Kristian and his wife, Idun. Kristian, trying to ease Julia's concerns, chuckles and reassures her that it's just a small fight, and they'll get over it. Julia, reflecting wisdom beyond her years, succinctly sums it up as, "That's life," to which Kristian agrees. The scene shifts to Idun at the hotel, showing her son, Sondre, his room. She playfully warns him about the minibar and adult channels, much to his embarrassment. Back at the house, Kristian finds an old mattress for Julia and a chair for himself. As he tucks Julia in, they share a moment appreciating the soul of their home, contrasting with the hotel's impersonal environment. In the quiet of the kitchen, Kristian reflects over a drink, watching over his sleeping daughter. Meanwhile, Idun receives a text from Kristian, an apology for his earlier actions, leading to a slight smile and a moment of forgiveness. Idun, concerned about Kristian's fears, reviews the hotel's tsunami evacuation plans, highlighting her awareness of the looming danger. The focus moves to the Eagle's Nest, where Kristian's colleagues Jacob and Arvid discuss Kristian's future in the oil industry, hinting at his deep connection with the mountains. The town is serene at night, with Sondre finding solace in skateboarding in the hotel's basement, crossing paths with Vibeke and sharing a moment of youthful connection. Back at the base, Georg, distracted by a movie, is jolted into action as he notices alarming shifts in the sensor readings, prompting him to alert Margot. Kristian, awakened from his doze, senses something amiss, a premonition of the impending disaster. At the Eagle's Nest, Arvid is informed of the sensor's alarming readings. He skeptically orders a recalibration, but decides to investigate personally with Jacob, indicating the seriousness of the situation. On his porch, Kristian gazes at the mountain, troubled. His call with Jacob confirms his worst fears. The crevice is contracting, and the team is on site to verify. As Arvid and Jacob inspect the crevice, a rockfall occurs, escalating the tension and danger. Kristian, on the phone, realizes the gravity of the situation, his fears mounting as the potential disaster looms closer. Back at the base, the seismic activity spikes, alarms blaring, signaling imminent danger. The tension is palpable as readings go haywire. Amidst a flurry of migrating birds, Kristian has an epiphany. He frantically retrieves his discarded papers, spreading them out on the kitchen floor, realizing the gravity of the situation. At the crevice, Jacob and Arvid confirm the dire readings. Jacob, taking a risk, unclips from his safety harness to check another sensor, heightening the suspense. Back at his house, Kristian pores over the paperwork and deduces an impending avalanche. He calls the base in a panic, and they connect him to Arvid. As Arvid and Jacob attempt to escape the crevice, a rockfall traps Jacob. The crevice starts to close in, and the sensors escalate to code red. Kristian urges Margot to sound the alarm, but she hesitates. Arvid takes command, ordering Margot to initiate red alert. The alarm blares across the town, signaling the imminent disaster. In a heart-wrenching moment, Arvid sacrifices himself to save Jacob, unclipping his line as the avalanche intensifies, plunging to his death. The relentless rock slide hits the water, forming a massive tsunami wave. The base begins a chilling countdown, 10 minutes until the wave hits Geiranger. The alarm sends the town into a frenzy. Idun springs into action outside the hotel, realizing the truth of her husband's warnings. As tremors shake the house, Kristian clutches Julia, starting a personal countdown. He drives frantically, urging others to evacuate. At the hotel, Idun knocks on doors, warning guests. She coordinates with Vibeke, telling her to find the bus driver and alert everyone. Time is running out. Kristian, in a desperate call with Idun, learns she and Sondre are at the hotel. He hesitates at a crossroads, torn between heading to the hotel and reaching higher ground. Realizing he must prioritize Julia's safety, Kristian takes the mountain road. Idun, at the hotel, does everything she can to ensure everyone's evacuation. The monstrous wave continues its relentless path towards the town, leaving destruction in its wake. In the hotel lobby, Idun confronts a group of guests and the driver, urgently explaining the necessity to evacuate immediately to survive the incoming mega-tsunami. Her stark warning prompts a frenzied rush to the bus, but Idun's maternal instinct kicks in as she realizes Sondre is missing. Back in the lobby, Vibeke assists with the evacuation, but expresses doubt about Idun's chances of finding Sondre in time. Meanwhile, Kristian and Julia are trapped in a massive traffic jam. Kristian's watch ticks down the minutes. They are dangerously low, only 47 meters above sea level. He makes a critical decision, instructing Julia and the other stranded people to run for higher ground. Back at the hotel, the evacuation is underway, but Idun is determined not to leave without Sondre. Maria, touched by Idun's earlier kindness, and her reluctant husband Phillip join her in the search. On the hillside, Kristian's watch shows they are still not high enough. In a desperate bid for survival, he helps Thomas's family escape their car, trapped by another vehicle. Anna, Thomas's wife, is injured, and Kristian knows they can't outrun the wave. With mere seconds left and the wave almost upon them, Kristian and Anna brace themselves in a car. They hold hands tightly as the wave crashes through, submerging them in a chaotic whirlpool of water and debris. The intensity peaks as they scream underwater, watching a large piece of debris hurtle towards them. Back at the hotel, Idun, along with Maria and Philip, frantically call out for Sondre. Hearing a noise, they discover the basement door, leading to a race against time as they try to find Sondre amidst the chaos. As they make their way back to the lobby, the bus departs without them. Idun, seeing the colossal wave about to hit, directs everyone to a bomb shelter she remembered from the evacuation plans. In a tense moment, Maria hesitates, and Idun has to snap her out of it. They barely make it inside the hotel as the wave engulfs it. The force of the water sweeps Maria away tragically, despite Idun's efforts. They manage to close the bomb shelter door, sealing themselves in a half-submerged and dark room. On the hill, Kristian awakens in the overturned car, only to find Anna lifeless. Devastated but determined, he escapes the wreck and begins a desperate search for Julia, witnessing the widespread destruction around him. At the geology base, Margot and Georg listen to Jacob over the radio, breaking down as they realize Arvid didn't survive, marking a moment of profound loss and grief. Kristian, climbing the hill, finally finds Julia among the survivors. Their embrace is a small moment of relief in the midst of disaster. Kristian, learning that Thomas's wife didn't survive, sees the toll the wave has taken on everyone. In the claustrophobic confines of the bomb shelter, a sense of dread mounts. Idun, in a desperate bid for survival, activates the emergency power. The dim light flickers over the creeping water, an unrelenting intruder. Together, Idun and Philip battle against time, using all their wits and strength to stem the tide of water that threatens to seal their fate in this submerged tomb. Kristian, rowing into town, is faced with the heart-wrenching sight of his destroyed town and its victims. He discovers the tour bus, confirming the worst but relieved that his wife and son were not among those inside. As the water level rises, Idun and Philip debate their limited options. Idun, thinking strategically, decides to wait for the right moment to open the door, hoping the water pressure will have decreased by then. Kristian, navigating the devastated town on foot, is determined to find any survivors. He sees the ruined hotel in the distance, a beacon of hope that his family might still be alive. The terror escalates outside the bomb shelter, now fully submerged. Inside, Idun, Philip, and Sondre face a dire situation. The room fills with water, the door blocked by debris. They cling to a vent for air. Philip's panic intensifies, leading to a tragic and shocking outcome. Cut to Kristian, who enters the hotel's flooded lobby, calling out in vain. The suspense mounts as he navigates the ruins, desperately searching for his family. The tension is palpable, with every collapsed roof and silent hallway amplifying the uncertainty. Back in the shelter, Idun and Sondre are running out of time. In a poignant moment, Idun consoles her son, vowing to keep fighting. Meanwhile, Kristian, engulfed in grief upon finding Sondre's bag, unleashes his anguish, unaware he's close to discovering the truth. The climax builds as Idun and Kristian engage in a desperate call and response, each clang a beacon of hope. Kristian's heroic dive underwater, battling debris to reach his family, is a heart-racing moment. The reunion scene, with Idun emerging first, is charged with emotion. Kristian and Sondre attempt a perilous underwater escape. The tension is palpable as Sondre panics upon seeing Philip's body. Kristian's fatherly instincts kick in as he rescues and revives his son, emphasizing the film's theme of family and survival against all odds. In a scene fraught with desperation, Idun dives underwater to save Kristian. The intense sequence of CPR, filled with fear and hope, grips the audience. The relief is palpable when Kristian finally breathes, reuniting with his family. This moment powerfully showcases the resilience of the human spirit. As the film draws to a close, we witness a poignant reunion on the hilltop. Julia, holding on to hope amidst despair, sees her family walking up the hill. The emotional impact of this scene is profound, symbolizing hope and new beginnings after a catastrophe. The wave ends with a sobering reminder of the ongoing threat posed by the Akerni's crevice. This stark reality check adds a layer of urgency and realism to the film, leaving the audience contemplating the unpredictable power of nature. Thank you for joining me on this intense journey through The Wave 2015. If you enjoyed this recap, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. Stay tuned for more cinematic explorations on our channel.